What's going on, everyone? Zav here, wanting to bring you a quick video talking about the Sword of Legends Online game update and changes that Gameforge actually went over on their live stream earlier today. And there was a lot of really good stuff in there, so I want to try and break it down in a very quick, compact format for all of you. And yeah, if you guys enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get after it. So the first thing they talked about is that the arena PvP time window, as you know right now, it is locked in a certain time window. So right now, if we try to queue up, it's not available. You get this, right? And so that is something that's currently an issue because we have so many different time zones playing in the regions. And, you know, it's really an inconvenient system that we have here. Unfortunately, right now, they do not have something that will be immediately available as a fix. However, it has been addressed and brought up to the developers, and they are discussing it with them and going through an appropriate process that they would see fit for fixing it. I guess it's not necessarily something that they want to just, you know, change altogether. Maybe they want to broaden the window, but they do say that they do understand that it is an issue, and they are working with the developers of the game to make some sort of adjustment to it. So we'll just have to wait and see what that is. Also, for those of you who remember from Battlegrounds on the current betas, when you did a Battleground and you came out of it, everybody got like this 3-day laziness debuff that didn't allow you to continue to get these rewards. You're supposed to be able to get these rewards after every Battleground win. However, everybody had this laziness deserter buff that prevented you from gaining the benefits for like 3 days. That has been fixed. So don't have to worry about that anymore. You can continue to gain your combat spirit and currency and boxes and all that stuff. So really good stuff there. That's a really big thing. Looking forward to it in beta and going forward. Now, one of the next big things that they added, and it is not available on the Taiwan client, so I can't show it here, but they have added voiceovers in English. It's not fully voiced over in English yet, but a large portion of the game file has been voiced over in English. And through popular demand, all right, this is a really big one for a lot of people. Through popular demand, they are leaving the option for you to have English voiceovers or Chinese voiceovers. So you can actually keep the Chinese voiceovers, if you prefer them, to the NA voiceovers, or English voiceovers, sorry. And so that's a really big, exciting thing. People like being able to have that freedom of choice. So maybe they want to listen to it in, you know, Chinese, but they want to read it in English. You can do that. So really good positive things there for people having that just freedom to choose with it. All right. The next thing they talked about, obviously, is that there will be a wipe come the end of beta 2. You know, people keep asking if there's going to be a wipe. Anybody who is watching this that streams or has been in a stream, you have probably seen that question asked to a streamer. Is the progress from beta going to carry over to live? No, that's never been the case. Closed beta, when closed beta ends, all the character information gone. Later down the road, there will be character creation and name reservation. So keep in mind, just because you have a name on beta doesn't mean you're going to have the name on release. Okay. So you got to make sure that you're there for name reservation, character creation, in order to reserve your name if you would like it. Now, the big thing that they started talking about now is just the beginning, right? There's a lot of stuff, guys. All right, we have a list of things that we're going through here. Is the dungeon difficulty. So as you know, in our version right now, this is the content that we have available right here. These normal modes and these hard modes. Okay. They are actually buffing the hard mode bosses across the board. So last beta, they had only buffed the special bosses from hard modes, the additional bosses. Now they are buffing all the bosses inside the hard modes. Because the content, you know, everybody was saying the hard modes were too easy. And that's because because we're functioning on a different balanced version of the game than when this content first came out. And we also have access to more items and enhancements and enchantments that weren't available back then, and we have higher values of stats than there were back when this content first came out. So this content was actually a lot easier for us. We talked to some people on the Chinese and Taiwanese client that played on the NA beta, and they said the dungeons were way easier than they were supposed to be. So awesome to see that they're buffing that content so that it's a little more challenging and takes a little more time for people to do. I think by the end of beta, people were speed running the hard modes in like 8 minutes, which is just insane. So nice to see that's happening. Now, they could have added the nightmare difficulty, but they were not able to. And that makes sense because nightmares are right here. These are the nightmare modes. They're 100 eye level. That was never going to be an option, realistically. People wanted it, but this is just way too high. We're here. And everybody wanted to skip to here. Not happening, okay? However, this was the really exciting thing that we got to find out instead. The raid, okay? The raid is right here. The raid has 2 difficulties to it. It has a normal difficulty, and then it has a hard mode difficulty, okay? That will not be available on launch, but it will be available a few weeks after release. Not months, a few weeks after release. This is huge because this is important for us to know in regards to the pacing of content. This was one of my biggest concerns about Sword of Legends, was what the pacing of content was going to be. As of right now, knowing that the hard mode dungeons are being buffed, the raid is going to come just a few weeks after release, and then they're going to present a general roadmap of how they plan to do future content releases going forward as well, is very reassuring to know that the health of the game is in a pretty good spot long term as of right now. So really important, good thing to look forward to. Really excited about that the raid is coming a few weeks after release, so that there's going to be plenty of content for people to be able to engage in off the bat. Big stuff. And there's something even bigger regarding available content. We'll get to that later. Huge thing. Okay. Next thing they talked about was the server stability on the beta, and that on this next beta there might be some times where people might experience some stability issues because they are going to be testing limitations of the servers, as well as additional servers. They did imply that there will be more than one server, most likely. So we'll just have to wait and see how that shapes out throughout the beta. The next thing is the leveling experience. All right, I know a lot of people had an issue with the leveling experience. Maybe it was taking too long, or it was just that they didn't like spending all their time in Frostbitten Path filling in those leveling gaps because it was the most effective way to level. They have fixed that. They have severely nerfed the XP walls that you have through the process of buffing the XP that you gain overall throughout your leveling process. And so now you should not really hit a XP wall from doing main story quest and side quest leveling until around like a 33 to 34 or a 36 to 37. You can even, if you do it efficiently, you can probably even skip past 33, 34 and just be all the way to 36 to 37. In which they said you just do a couple biographies and you're done. Great. Awesome. Fantastic stuff. Do your biographies while you're leveling and you'll just completely bypass it altogether. So you no longer will have to go through like a Frostbitten Path spamming grind in order to get to max level, which is a really valuable thing to people. Okay. People were asking if there was going to be additional stuff on the cash shop. No, they're not going to add anything additionally to the cash shop at the moment. Currently what you see on beta is what the cash shop will be on release, and then there will be more stuff implemented later on because there's going to be events and things like that to, you know, rotate the cash shop stuff in order to keep things fresh and in a cycle, right? Now, earlier we mentioned something about additional content to keep people busy. Gameforge has actually achieved something that I did not think was going to be possible. This is something people were begging for. I didn't think we were going to get this at all. It's something we have been telling people will not be available in our version on release, and they've done it. It's actually amazing. They have added in the faction v faction PvP zone, a faction v faction PvP zone. We'll show you which one it is right here. It is this zone, and it is, first of all, it's gorgeous, but it's also awesome to know that we are going to have an open world PvP faction zone. And there's even more to know about that faction system than we knew to begin with from being here. Okay, so this zone is essentially your typical red versus blue. When you get to the point of choosing a faction, right now, you will have the option of Heaven's Children, which is blue, or Mysticism, which is red. All right. The zone is called the Valley of Echoing Blades. This is where you'll do some PvP related dailies and questing, things like that for your faction, to get faction currency, to buy other certain like cosmetics or mounts, appearances, things like that, right? You are able to be in opposing factions within the same guild currently. So I'm in, you know, let's say me and Johnny Appleseed 23 over here. All right, we're in the same guild. Okay, I go blue, he goes red. That's fine. You can do that. Just know that during PvP events, you're going to be against each other. Now, that can be concerning for some people regarding things like collusion and sabotaging. And so that's something Gameforge is going to have to keep an eye on, because there are people that will definitely exploit, you know, or abuse things like that with having people go another faction to deliberately win or lose and things like that. Especially since you can have the faction lock is character based, not account based, so you can have multiple characters on different factions. So definitely something for them to keep an eye on in that regard. However, later on, the alliance system, once the alliance system is introduced, your entire guild will be locked to a faction. So you will all then be the same faction. However, for right now, people in the same guild can be opposing factions at the moment. Now, this is a really big thing to keep note of. This alone is awesome. This was more than I could have hoped for. But we learned something additionally about the PvP modes, the faction mode. This skill right here is actually called faction mode. And when you toggle it on, it enables you for faction v faction PvP in any zone. Any zone, even Cloud Rise. So if you turn this on, let's say I'm blue and you're red and you've got this toggled on and I've got it toggled on, we can go at each other in Cloud Rise. Okay? This enables faction PvP in any zone, and you don't get punished for it. You don't get, you know, negative key like if you go rampage mode or anything like that. You can just have faction mode flagged up anytime, anywhere when you're going around the zones, and you will be able to PvP people regardless. But they have to be flagged for faction mode as well and be the opposing faction. Now, here's the kicker. If you activate faction mode, you cannot turn it off until the next day at 6 a.m. It is a one-time, it has a use. You are then unable to turn it off. Okay, so once you turn it on, you can't turn it off until 6 a.m. the next day. It has a one-time use for the day. So if you turn on faction mode, just know that you are stuck in faction mode until the next day. All right. So this is a really great way to prevent people from turning it on real quick, PKing somebody, and then turning it off. All right. If you want to enter a mode where you're PvPing people, you are committed to PvPing for that time window. So while we talk about some of the other stuff, you know, regarding it, we'll run through this zone for you guys real quickly, show it off to you. You know, here's the middle of the map. But yeah, I mean, it was really awesome to see them come through this zone. On the live stream, you know, they were using a speed hack, so they freaking blitzed through this zone. But yeah, so that's really awesome to know that people are going to be able to PvP wherever they want. This is going to help, you know, have a much more active world. But also keep in mind, if you don't want to participate in this, you don't even have to select a faction. All right. So even if you don't pick a faction, if you do not pick a faction, you're fine. You know, those people, you don't even have to worry about it. You don't even have to worry about the faction stuff then. So really important stuff there to know. Going forward with other updates in the game, they talked about some of the other stuff that's coming later. The GVG system, the 100v100 weekend PvP mode. It's going to be chaos because of, you know, performance issues and people's character models being turned off and everything. It's going to be interesting. That's all stuff is coming in later updates, as well as the Battle Pass, which is entirely cosmetic. The Battle Pass is even on Taiwan. It's entirely cosmetic though, so don't worry about that. It's not like, you know, a special Battle Pass. It's literally a cosmetic Battle Pass, and that's planned for weeks after release as well. So this is the zone right here, as you can see. So definitely highly recommended that you be in PvP gear while you're out here, especially because when you come out to this zone, which I should mention, being in this zone automatically flags you for PvP mode. So this flagging for PvP mode is entirely separate than when you come out here. When you come out to this zone, you are automatically flagged for PvP by default, period. Okay? Now, that being said, these NPCs actually function as PvP geared mobs. So if you came out here in PvE gear, you would actually do exponentially worse against these than if you were in PvP gear. So they actually added the elements for being out in this PvP zone is PvP gear is most beneficial for doing the dailies and activities out here, as they are PvP geared related characters. And you can tell that by the cross sword icon next to their name. That means that they are PvP type mobs, NPCs, etc. So really awesome stuff there. So looking forward to it. But those were all the really big things that they talked about today, guys. And let me tell you, I am actually really excited. This was a really big update. And, you know, this came with at a really good time, was more than I could have ever been expecting from it. And I got to say, I'm really surprised, and great job. I'm looking forward to it. I'm juiced now. I'm so excited. Especially because Elion's been doing some funky things on KR lately. So we'll have a different video for that coming later. Some really concerning things on that front. And you guys know how much I'm an advocate for that game. So, but really excited with the stuff we got here going on with Sword of Legends. Looking forward to it. Absolutely excited for it. And I think the game is going to be in a really good place going forward. So hope to see you guys in the game. I hope to see you guys in the world. And yeah, remember guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. And we will catch you in solo. Take it easy. Peace.